Namaste everybody and welcome to Dr. Arjun Astrology channel. This is a quick video that I'm doing on the upcoming conjunction of Mars and Rahu in Taurus, in the sign of Taurus, in the nakshatra of Rohini. So this is a very general analysis, but I will also look at this conjunction from various angles. So let's start with looking at it from a Rashi perspective. So this conjunction of Mars and Rahu is happening in Taurus, which is called as Vrashabha. Vrashabha means the bull, Taurus. It's also in Sanskrit is called as Gokula. Gokula means the family of the cow. And no doubt, we know that Rohini is the nakshatra, which is the birth star of Lord Sri Krishna, who is also called as Gopala, who is the caretaker of the cows. Okay, and Gokula is the family of the cows. So Vrashabha Rashi is where it is happening. Let's know that Vrashabha Rashi, which is Taurus, is an even sign. It's called as Sama or Yugma Rashi. Secondly, we also know that it's a feminine, it's a female sign. Thirdly, we will see that Taurus is also a nocturnal sign. So we need to know that most of the activities which will be done during the night will be more favorable. Vrashabha Rashi is also a Sthira Rashi. Sthira means it's a fixed sign. And this sign is associated with Mula. Mula means not the nakshatra Mula. There is a concept in astrology, Vedic astrology, which is called as Dhatu, Mula, and Jiva. So Dhatu means the mineral kingdom, Mula means the plant kingdom, and Jiva means the animal kingdom. So Taurus as a sign falls under the Mula kingdom, which is the plant, trees, and roots. So during this conjunction, so the Mula element would be even more prominent. Then it's also a Rashi which is called as Prishtodaya. Prishtodaya means rising back first. And the Varna, which means this is a trader class, which is Vaishya. Vaishya Varna, which is the caste of a trader or a merchant. It is also a Prithvi Rashi, which means it is connected to the earth element. And the Purushartha of this nakshatra is Artha. So what am I getting at is this conjunction is happening in the natural second house, the Bhava. When we come to the Bhava element of it, you will know that it is connected to the second Bhava. The second Bhava is connected to family. It's associated with stored wealth, speech, and also food. So I think these are the elements where we would want to see how these two planets coming and conjoining will be able to help us. So note that because it is the natural second house of the banks, because where initially all the wealth was stored at home in a treasury in the northern direction, but now it is most of our wealth is stored in the banks. So the financial institutions and banks might have something to do with this transit coming together, because Rahu generally represents materialistic wealth that is there. And Rahu also represents Shridhan. Shridhan means it is the wealth of a woman. So you would see that there might be some challenges with this area, because you're looking at the Graha, which is Rahu, which shows shadow, which shows thievery or being a thief, showing illusions or Maya. Anything that is causing unethical behavior is all what Rahu stands for. So this is happening in Vrashabha Rashi, as I mentioned to you, and it is also saying the ugly back of this Rashi will show up. It's a Prishtodaya. It's rising back first. So the back or whatever was done in the past in the banking system is going to come out. So a lot of skeletons are going to come out, and you would see a lot of meltdown that can happen in the stock markets in general. You're talking about even bitcoins, or artha is the purushartha of this Rashi, and it's a fixed sign. So something to do with long-term investments can be impacted here. Okay. Then you look at Mars, because Mars shows, uniformed people who are, who are in authority, like the defense, the military, the police, and with its combination with the Rahu, it can show you a connection with antisocial elements or enemies of the land. And you would see that there could be some issues with one of your younger siblings also. Okay. Or if you have a son, Mars represents the second son. So in Nadi-based astrology, these are the areas that you really need to see, because there is a form of a war which is going to happen between Mars and Rahu. So, so what does Mars represents? Mars represents use of weapons, sharp items, needles, scissors. So, and Rahu represents accidents which can happen. So there can be some accidents, there could be some calamities, there could be some quarrel, there could be some injuries, there could be some danger that can come from a foreign element. So all of these, because Rahu represents foreign elements, it also represents, as I mentioned, because it's happening in the sign of Taurus, it is nocturnal, so something which is very hidden. There might also be talk about the stashed away wealth in safe havens, which is we call as the black money. So there might be some traces of the black money coming out, some scandals coming out, something to do with photography and sexual scandals might also be, rising up. You might see all of this. Also, this combination can give rise to blood-related ailments. So people who have blood-related ailments like diabetes or blood pressure, they need to be more mindful and look out for any of those symptoms and get quickly to see a doctor so that they can get healed. This combination is also what I see is the return of a lot of long lost friendship, and also where you can bring your exes, your ex-boyfriend might want to come back, your ex-girlfriend suddenly can from somewhere would want to connect with you. So there would be some fiery element that can come up. So, you need to watch out for these areas. And also what I would say is Mars represents electrical transformers and Rahu represents electronic gadgets. So you need to look at these two areas, because there might be power outages, there might be blackouts that can happen during this time, or short circuits that can happen. So these are some of the themes that you would see: use of sharp objects, antisocial elements, especially accidents around big roads, and especially at cross roads or cross junctions at traffic lights. You might see these accidents happen very much. There could be a pylon. Also, there might be some disruption that you would see, or some danger to public transport is what you can see here. Okay, factory and workshops where machinery is used, that also is another place where you need to watch out for any accidents or violence or any sort of quarrels or injuries or danger. So any unethical behavior, immoral behavior, and also antisocial behavior. So these are some of the key themes that you would see that this combination can bring. Also, what I want to say from the health perspective, you would see Rahu is essentially controls the intestine, and you would see maybe there might be some surgery or an operation that might be required, that could also lead you to some element of clumsiness, procrastination, insanity. Sometimes you would see people, and also this combination can give you a lot of heat boils in places where there is very warmer. It can also lead to diseases of the spleen or varicose veins. So these are some of the themes that you would see. Also, what I've seen with the, it's happening in the second house. So you would see some harsh words being used, abusive words that can be used. One has to be very mindful of what they're eating, because you might be eating a lot of red meat and red wine, or even unhealthy food that might be there. So these are some of the things which were activated when Mars and Rahu will come together. Also, what I want to say is this is happening in the star constellation of Rohini. Now, Rohini in the Arabic world, it is called as Al-Dabran. Al-Dabran means the follower. So it causes a lot of destructions, hindrances, especially where there is building work that is happening. There is also, could be some things related to creepy things that can come up, some destruction that might be also on the cards. Also, you would see some disturbance in travel, business, and also some sort of military activity can also, because Mars is involved here. So some fever, violent deaths are also possible because this combination is happening in the second house. Okay. Now, what are the kind of remedies that you can generally do? One of the remedies that I've seen is based on mythology. Mars and Rahu coming together as per Nadi, Rahu represents Durga and Mars represents a fierce form of Durga. And if you know the iconography of Rahu's iconography is always shown by, he holds a dart in one of his hands, a poisonous dart in one of his hands. He wields a sword or a khadga, what we call, in his other hand. And one hand he's holding a shield, a protective shield, which is made from a form of a leather or some sort of animal skin, which is used, protective shield that he holds. And one of his hands is in Abhaya Mudra, which means the wish granting or boon granting disposition that he has. Now, the sword and the poisonous dart. So these are two things that I would usually say is used by Durga to counter the attack by the demon. So she's also called as Mahishasura Mardini, which means the slayer of the buffalo demon. So worship of Durga by reciting or listening to Durga Saptasati, which is the 700 slokas of Durga Saptasati, is very much favorable. Also, those who are capable and who are willing to do this, they can also do, if they're seeing the intensity is quite a lot, they can offer a khadga or a sword at the Durga temple. Also, what you say for protection, if you need to have protection, Mars is the warrior, the commander-in-chief, and Rahu is the adversary. And it shows as though it is the battle between Murugan or Lord Kartikeya, the son of Shiva and Parvati, with Surapadman or Tarakasur. So you can see that there is a battle which is going to ensue now between, Murugan, Lord Murugan or Lord Kartikeya. He's also called as Skanda, and Subramanya. So that battle is going to ensue because Rahu represents the Asura and Mars represents the commander-in-chief of the godly forces. So this battle is going to ensue, and which, Murugan is going to use his veil. His veil is the spear, the sharp dart that we talked about. So it is the spear that he's going to use. And so maybe keeping a small spear-like object or a veil-like object with you can give you protection from any adverse events that can happen, like an accident or a violent breakout that can happen. So, or worshipping, or offering a veil to a Murugan temple can also be giving you that protection from Rahu. Another thing that I also see is worship of goddess Varahi is considered very auspicious during this time, because when Mars and Rahu are coming together, it activates, I said, yogas which are related to accidents, and accidents can also bring sometimes death, and a lot of death yama is always involved in this. So Yama's concert, okay, is called as Yami, or she's the goddess, the Matrika, who is the overlord of the Yama, who rules the southern direction. He's the Dikpala, the Astadikpala, which means he is one of the guardians of the southern direction. So he's a directional god, Yama, and this Mars Rahu combination can create that, because in Vastu Shastra, we all know that Mars rules the southern direction and Rahu rules the southwest direction. So that is the place where you would see a lot of activity happening. If the Vastu of your house is improper in these areas, then this combination of this transit can definitely bring some turmoil or some disturbances inside the family as well, because this conjunction is happening in the second house of family, which is Taurus in general. So of the natural zodiac, so second house of Taurus. So watch out for the southwest direction and the south direction where this combination is happening. So many of them could worship, goddess Varahi, who is the consort of Varaha Swami, and that will really be very beneficial. Also keeping, peacock feathers for your protection, because peacock represents the ability to squash the serpentine energy, and Murugan's or Skanda's peacock is the mount, and he crushes the element of serpentine energy, because serpents are associated with Rahu, with Rahu. So Rahu's flag is the flag of a serpent or a snake, a poisonous serpent. So you can see that a peacock or keeping Murugan and worshipping Murugan might be a great thing. Now, another few things for some people who would want to do is people can do Durga Puja, which means worshipping goddess Durga by lighting 8 ghee lamps on a Tuesday during Rahu Kalam. This is the most easiest way of trying to appease and to pacify the afflictions, if there are any, between Mars and Rahu coming together. Now, these ghee lamps have to be lit into lamps which you make from lemon. So all you have to do is you take your lemon, cut them into half, squeeze the juice from the other side, and the yellow side or the green side of the lemon can be used as a lamp. So you light a lamp in that, and during Rahu Kalam, which is, you can have any astrological software that can tell you, or any Panchanga, that is ephemeris that you can get hold of, will tell you on a Tuesday, which is Rahu Kalam. So during that time, you can do the simple mantra to Durga after lighting this 108 times. Om Doom Durgaye Namaha. Om Doom Durgaye Namaha. Now, for those of you who are not able to do this, it's very easy also to just light these lamps visually in your mind. It's called Manasa Puja, and then you can recite this mantra Om Doom Durgaye Namaha 108 times. And this should be done during the Rahu Kalam or on a Tuesday. The other thing that you can also do to get the divine grace and blessings is, by donating tuar dal. Tuar dal is split pigeon pea lentils, or you can also donate red gram. Red gram is called as masoor dal, or red lentils. You can mix red lentils and with black gram also, and you can donate it, or you can give separate things of black gram, which is urad dal. Now, for those of you who are able to also do Medvada Seva to Hanumanji on a Saturday, that is very good to get the grace of Hanumanji to protect you from any undue events that can happen because of this combination of Mars and Rahu. Now, the other simplest thing that you can do is offering 21 Durva grass to Lord Ganapati or Lord Ganesha. So here are some of the themes that I've already talked about for this conjunction. And you can do any of these remedies that will be very helpful to you. Okay, so I wish you all the very best, and namaste.